market manipulation. There is manipulation in markets, but I don't think it's the manipulation that we hear about in the silver community. For example, there's a movie called Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room. I highly suggest you watch that movie. I highly, highly suggest it. Enron, huge corporation, audited by, at the time, one of the best and brightest and most trusted audit firms. And of course, we would all know what happened to Enron. In that movie, they tell the story of Enron. There's one point in the movie, and there's actually recorded conversations of traders at Enron. In California, on the hottest day in the year, some of the traders called up the power plants and asked the power plant to have a shutdown for a brief period of time. The way that the energy market was deregulated at that time, it meant that with supply and demand, by shutting down the power plant, they spiked the price of energy on that day. And the way that contracts and whatever were written is the traders were joking that right now we are taking money from widows and orphans, right? That is market manipulation. There is a fraudulent activity of a trader telling the power plant to shut down for a brief period of time to spike the price. This stuff does happen. And that thing happening is an example of supply and demand being manipulated, because the supply was shut off for a brief period of time. And the way things were structured was the retail investor got killed. There's another line in the movie where it says that the person at Enron says, "We don't care what laws the government passes. We'll find ways to make money off of them." And that is true, right? The people at Enron were a lot more clever than these politicians. The politician's job isn't understanding markets and energy. The politician's job is getting reelected. So when it comes to a conflict between Enron and California, Enron was robbing the state blind. So I know a lot of traders talk about the free market, there's no manipulation, but these things do exist. I've also reading things about how they're playing games with the oil tankers, right? Parking oil tankers off the coast of Africa to create a temporary shortage. Stuff happens, right? I mean, I know a lot of people who are trading trying to say, no, there's no manipulation and whatnot, and they are giving good thoughts forward. A second thing I'm going to say is a lot of us are criticizing those who make promises to the upside. The same thing about promises to the downside. I know a couple of the people who are constantly leaving comments are saying silver's going to go down this level. That's not a promise. There's never a promise. We've seen the precious metals have a good rally the next few days. It doesn't mean it's a long-term rally. But what's happening in the world? Right now, we've got about $40 trillion of capital that's trying to find a home, right? It's shifting from markets back and forth, hopping in and hopping out. Currencies, stocks, bonds. The market's trying to find a place for its capital. And stuff changes all the time, right? Based on the current trajectory, people are saying $17 silver or even lower. What will it trajectory be if other stuff happens? Well, if you could see the future and you knew for sure what that trajectory was, you'd be making so much money. Woohoo! You'd be like those Enron traders who are calling up the power plant, telling them to temporarily shut down, and then you're going long, and the price spikes, and you make a killing, and the little old ladies and orphans who were on a certain kind of energy plan are now paying through the teeth on that day. Stuff happens. Matt Taibbi had an article in the Rolling Stone, and he even talked about gold and silver markets, right? Shenanigans happen in all the markets. My point of contention is the shenanigans we're being told about in silver are not the actual shenanigans that are going on. There's a lot of hot money in these precious metals. See, in the precious metals, we have the industry, the commercials. They're using silver. Tiffany's using silver for forks and spoons. Right? You have, like, silver stackers. They're stacking the silver coins and bars. And then you have the traders who are purely speculating on the metal. There's a lot of that trader speculative money in these metals. And those people, at the blink of an eye, will pull out or put more in. We saw that in 2008. Look how that stuff fell off a cliff. I'm recovering from a cold here. I got a tickle in my throat. I'm repulsed by this whole system. Actually, I kind of am, actually. All right, thank you.